Right now at noon, a police chase in Crawford County ends in an arrest of a teenager.
And we've got those partly cloudy skies out there. Otherwise, more sunshine than what we saw and more on the way. A look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, summer business scams are on the rise in Southwest Missouri. What to look out for and how to protect your wallet.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Noe. New at noon today, a Joplin man is now facing murder charges for a March 2024 shooting. Alex Vega is charged with second-degree murder and armed criminal action. According to court documents, Vega is accused of getting into an argument with Travis Wyrick at their job at Hillbilly Pumping and Hauling. Vega allegedly went inside the office, then back out to his truck. That's when investigators say he grabbed a gun and shot Wyrick 3 times. Vega is currently in the Jasper County Jail with no bond. Also new at noon today, a Pittsburgh teen is arrested after a police chase involving a stolen vehicle. According to Crawford County Sheriff's Office, deputies spotted a stolen Chevrolet Cruze on the Pittsburgh bypass and attempted a traffic stop this morning. The driver refused to stop, leading authorities on a pursuit. A tactical vehicle intervention was used to bring the chase to a safe end. The driver, an 18-year-old Pittsburgh man, was taken into custody. 2 juveniles, ages 14 and 16, were also in the vehicle. They were placed in protective custody and will be returned to their guardians. No injuries were reported. Authorities in northeast Oklahoma are investigating the discovery of human remains. The Delaware County, Oklahoma Sheriff's Department released word yesterday evening saying the report came in around 11 yesterday morning of remains discovered in a field north of Jay. Apparently, a person found the remains while brush hogging. Investigators have since confirmed that the remains are human. Now, state officials are trying to determine the identity. You can look for updates on KOAMnewsnow.com. Let's head over now to Chris Warner for first weather.
Yeah, we've got a pretty decent day out there so far. Temperatures, they're heating up, but they're still technically below average. Nice view downtown Pittsburgh. We're heading over to the MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline. Plenty of folks on the road now as we roll into the lunch hour. And yesterday started pretty normal, right at 69, and we were 3 degrees below normal for the high. Not too shabby. And that's how today's looking to shape up as well. This morning, by the way, there were more clouds in Joplin than Pittsburgh. We had more clear skies. Now the roles are reversed. We got 83 in Joplin, feels like 84 because the humidity again is down thanks to that north breeze. And over on the Pittsburgh side, 84 feels like 86. And temperatures around the area, again, we've got some cooler spots. Stockton there sitting at 79. Everyone else roughly low to mid 80s. Temperatures will climb a little more into the mid 80s. Partly cloudy skies will continue. And our temperatures tonight falling back near or even once again a little below average, back down to the low 70s by 11. We've got more heat on the way. Temperatures really start to climb, and we've got some rain chances heading into the holiday weekend. Details here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Vernon County, Missouri authorities say Sunday's storms brought damage primarily in the northern part of the county, taking down trees and power lines. The manager of the fireworks stand at the Nevada Speedway says her family was trying to hold down the tent as storms picked up. When she saw how serious it was, she drove her truck underneath to try and get her family in a safe place. Before they could leave, the stand collapsed down on top of them.
Before we could get out, it collapsed around us. I had my daughter and my daughter-in-law actually made it out. Me and my son-in-law was beside the truck as one of the main center poles came down. And if it wouldn't have been for the truck that the center pole stopped, very good chance I wouldn't have my son-in-law today.
She says first responders were able to help get her family to safety. The Baxter Springs, Kansas Fire Department is moving into its new fire station this week, 15 months after construction began on the facility. The $3 million facility replaces a fire station that was built in 1926. Funding comes from state and federal grants. The department has provided a sneak peek inside. Firefighters have been assembling furniture and installing equipment. This coming Saturday at 9:45 a.m., trucks will parade from the old station to the new one. That will be followed by a ribbon cutting ceremony and open house until noon. The Missouri Job Center in Joplin is taking a unique approach to helping young people get a new start in life while also addressing homelessness. The new Youth Build program is aimed at helping 16 to 24-year-olds earn a high school diploma along with an education in construction leadership and community engagement. Organizers say students will use these skills by building houses for people without homes. Well, the Better Business Bureau releases a new study showing business scams in the Southwest Missouri area are on the rise. KOAM's Ty Parks shows us how one Joplin business is training its employees to spot red flags and ask the right questions.
Get a lot of calls from people pretending to be DoorDash representatives or point of sales services, so like Clover or Square and things like that.
Lakin Pro manages the Joplin greenhouse.
Our owner's motto is to just always ask questions. You'll never actually have people like that asking for your login information. So if you ever get a call like that, that's just kind of your first red flag.
Red flags for scams targeting businesses, most of which fall into 3 categories.
There's stolen information, so like the data breaches that we unfortunately hear about all the time. There are impersonations, so could be a vendor impersonation, a government agency impersonation, and then fake services. So someone reaching out with a problem with your trademark or your domain is about to expire.
When it comes to a business avoiding scams, it is just like a consumer. It's slowing down, paying attention to the details.
So for example, if you get an email that says your domain is about to expire, either contact the person that runs your website, or if that's you, go to your domain host and log in directly and see that information for yourself.
Pro says the Joplin greenhouse gets 2 to 3 scams a week. For her employees, training plays a very important role.
We just have kind of trained all of our employees to just be very aware of who they're talking to on the phone, and if it's something that they can't handle, to just pass it off to somebody who's a little more experienced in that type of field, and we just try to handle it with grace.
And with that grace and persistence, this greenhouse is staying resistant to scams. In Joplin, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
We have more information on scam prevention on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, coming up, Senate Republicans are trying to shore up the needed support to pass the president's tax cut and spending bill. And later, we're making pesto steak kebabs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, 2 Missouri men already facing charges in the mysterious case of 3 friends found dead outside a Kansas City home could now face murder charges. Jordan Willis and Ivory J. Carson were both already charged with a single count of delivery of a controlled substance and 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors say all 3 died of fentanyl and cocaine combined toxicity outside Willis's home 2 days after the friends watched a Kansas City Chiefs game in January 2024. Both Willis and Carson entered not guilty pleas to the initial charges. Prosecutors are now asking a judge to upgrade the 3 involuntary manslaughter charges to murder in the 2nd degree. Well, yesterday, the Supreme Court tossed aside a handful of lower court rulings that sided with transgender Americans. This comes in the wake of a blockbuster ruling last month that upheld a ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth. The justices upended rulings that blocked state policies from excluding coverage for gender-affirming care in state-sponsored health insurance plans. The High Court also threw out a ruling that blocked Oklahoma's attempt to stop transgender people from changing the sex on their birth certificates. Well, senators continue to debate amendments to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act as Republicans look to shore up support for President Trump's budget proposal. Natalie Brand has more.
The Senate vote-a-rama has stretched beyond 24 hours, with Republican leaders trying to shore up enough support to pass the massive budget bill. With GOP Senators Rand Paul and Tom Tillis opposed, the legislation's fate could hinge on moderates Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski.
What about Senator Murkowski? Is there any way to placate her?
Who knows? You tell me. You tell me. Is there?
President Trump is still pushing to have the bill on his desk by July 4th, but acknowledged it could be difficult. And he's also cautioning lawmakers against trimming too much from the final version.
We're going to have to see the final version. I don't want to go too crazy with cuts. I don't like cuts. There are certain things that have been cut, which is good. I think we're doing well. We're going to have to see. It's very complicated stuff. Great enthusiasm, as you know.
The bill, which extends the 2017 Trump tax cuts and eliminates federal taxes on tips and overtime pay, increases money for defense and immigration enforcement. But it cuts Medicaid spending, and the Congressional Budget Office estimates it could increase the deficit by nearly $3.3 trillion. That's significantly more than the House version, threatening the support of conservative hardliners there. One group posting on social media, "That's not fiscal responsibility. That's not what we agreed to."
I have prevailed upon my Senate colleagues to please get as close to the House product as possible.
Moderate House Republicans are also expressing concern with Senate bill changes targeting the wind and solar industries, which critics say would hurt their development. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Today we've got just the thing to make your 4th of July dynamite. It's easy, it uses only 4 ingredients, and the taste is explosive.
And temperatures will continue to heat up as we climb further into July. We'll have a look at your forecast right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon on what has turned out to be another warm and pretty nice day across the area. However, it's July, it's summertime, and the temperatures are going to begin to climb. Let's start with that quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Like I said, this morning we had more clouds in Joplin than in Pittsburgh, and those roles have reversed. We've got a few more clouds in Pittsburgh than we have in Joplin. Either way, though, still not a bad day, and temperatures on track for most of us to be still a bit below normal, like what we saw yesterday. So not significantly below normal, but technically below normal, and that counts for something, right? On to the future track we go. Again, just looking at partly cloudy skies across the area, and that will continue into our Wednesday as well. Winds already fairly light out of the north, and as we go overnight and into Wednesday, they'll either become calm or light and variable at best, and that's really going to be about it. It won't be until Thursday that we start to see opportunities for some of those pop-up showers and thunderstorms out there. So initially, some of them staying in our southern counties. Others could, as you can see, get outside of that range. But that's really the only thing we've really got to contend with as we head into the holiday weekend as well, is primarily with those pop-up storms. So most of what we're looking at is going to be activity that traditionally feeds off the heating of the day, which also means once the sun goes down, it starts to die out. And therefore, fireworks events and shows and things like that, or your own personal show in your backyard, should be just fine. But you want to make sure you've got a safe, dry place to go if one of those storms gets going, because the lightning's still dangerous, and you don't want your grill rained on. You don't want your family rained on, or maybe in some cases you do. You never know. But you don't want the food getting wet, and you certainly don't want your fireworks getting wet. So just have a backup area for those things, and maybe don't take the fireworks out too early, just in case. Otherwise, temperatures into tomorrow, that's where we really start to see the warm up. We're going to be getting closer to maybe a hair above average as we start climbing into the upper 80s. A couple of 90-degree readings, not out of the question. But as we roll into Thursday, that's when we're going to see opportunities for a few more of those 90-degree readings across the area. So by noon, as you can see, it's not too bad, and then it starts to heat up. We've got some 90s and maybe even a couple of low 90s out there by Thursday afternoon, and that will translate over into our Friday. So for the 4th, we're still looking at low 90s. Not unbearably hot, but at the same time, it's going to be a bit on the toasty side for sure. And of course, with the pop-up storm chances, one of the things that they feed on for that fuel is not just the heating of the day, it's some of the moisture in the air, some of that instability, which means it's going to start to feel muggy across the area as we head into the 4th. For the rest of today, though, right around the mid-80s, north breeze 5 to 10. Well, it's partly cloudy skies. We go into the evening and overnight, partly cloudy still, winds calm or light and variable, and back to the mid-60s. So another evening, maybe a little below average. Tomorrow, though, not looking to be too below average at all. Partly cloudy, warmer upper 80s, and maybe a couple of 90-degree readings. And as we head down toward the 4th, the temperatures begin to climb. Not too bad at first. Low 90s, but into the holiday weekend, that extended weekend, now we're talking low to mid 90s, and those are going to stick around as we roll into next week as well, as do the pop-up storm chances. So one of those things, we'll just keep an eye on those, and otherwise be prepared for the heat, because it's getting ready to settle in.
Certainly is. All right, Chris, thanks. And stick around. We're making pesto steak kebabs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Now, today we have just the thing to make your next cookout dynamite. Howard is making pesto steak kebabs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Whether it's for the 4th of July or you're simply looking for something special for a cookout or for a cook-in, that's when we cook our grilled favorites inside rather than out. We have just the thing. Shish kebabs, and we're making them steakhouse worthy. We start by parboiling a handful of creamer or baby potatoes until they're fork tender. Once they are, we drain them. While they cool, we cut a couple of thick ribeye steaks into good-sized chunks. Starting with a premium cut like this ensures these are going to be super tender. And rather than using pieces of red and green peppers like we normally do, we thought using whole mini sweet peppers would set our kebabs apart from the rest. Now all we do is take our skewers and alternate the peppers with the beef and baby potatoes until everything is used up. Right before they go on the grill or into a grill pan, we brush them with some pesto. Once they're cooked to your desired doneness, they're ready to serve. If you want, you could even brush on a little more pesto to make them extra saucy. So if you're looking for a main dish that'll melt in your mouth, all you have to do is go to our website and type in what we call pesto steak kebabs. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a steakhouse kind of way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
As always, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. All you have to do is head on over to our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, warm today, but still a bit below normal. Then we start getting near normal tomorrow, and then we start heating up for July, low to mid 90s through the weekend and next week. And of course, those pop-up storm chances, like I said, not a washout for the 4th, but definitely want to keep an eye on the sky, just in case.
Absolutely, Chris. Thanks. David Press later on today.
Well, lots coming up at 5. For starters, some money-saving tips for your 4th of July gathering. That includes festive favorites that won't break the bank. Plus, a new law takes effect today in Kansas. Drivers must now move over for vehicles with hazardous lights on. We're going to hear from the Cherokee County Sheriff on exactly what this means. And firefighter shortages across the 4 states, what that could mean for response times this holiday week. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more. It's coming up on KOAM News at 5.
All right, Dal, thanks. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.